Welcome. This is just going to be the light, short version of what is an empath. And I'll do more detailed ones later. The best term that I've come across is a clairsentient, somebody who has clear feeling. And it's somebody that is able to sense and feel the emotions of others. And there are many different ways that it can come through. Usually it's a physical thing. And oftentimes you can tell if you're an empath, because usually like between the ages of like 13 and 16, you might have previously been a very social person. And then suddenly you couldn't be around crowds very much because you were just overwhelmed, and things just, it became difficult to be around other people. And oftentimes when this happens, it gets mistaken for like anxiety or even bipolar disorder. And please, I'm not a doctor or psychologist, so don't replace diagnoses, but this, you can look up common information. It is often misdiagnosed. And my experience, my opinion is, when you start practicing empath skills, to be able to protect yourself and to be able to move with the energy, if that ends up resolving the anxiety and other things of that nature, then that's what it was. So, I mean, it's up to you. You know yourself best, and it doesn't hurt anything to try. In any case, some of the ways you can tell that you're an empath, especially like as an adult, but even as a teen, is that when you tend to take on the energy of whoever you're around. Like if you're with somebody who is generally calm and kind and a healing person, you feel that way around them. If you are around somebody who is aggressive and combative and possessive, you feel that way around them. If you are around somebody who is like duplicitous or secretive or who's hiding something, you feel that way. If you're around somebody who is, I'm going to say selfish, like not self-loving, but selfish, like they're like arrogant, like they only really think about themselves, then you think you end up feeling like they feel. And like likewise, which I'll go into explaining a little bit more in a minute, like if you're around an energy vampire, you tend to get to be like them. If you're around somebody who's like a victim zombie, you tend to start feeling like them. Now, when you're conscious of this nature that happens, you're able to learn to separate. And I'll do some videos about how to discern the difference between your emotions and someone else's emotions. But that's like kind of that key indicator, especially if like you are, like say you're in a good mood and you're having a perfectly fine time, and then suddenly like you feel like you're angry and you're not even really sure why you're angry. And like then you find out your coworker, like your coworker who is across the room or inside the store or something, or maybe a lover who is on the other end of a phone, like suddenly like they contact you or they come in, or you find out that they were mad. Like it's likely that that's why you started feeling mad. And that's one of the first ways you can recognize, are you, is this my feelings or is this someone else's feelings? It could be a complete stranger too. Like but the first clue, if you're an empath, is that when you start recognizing, why am I even feeling this way? Like this wasn't even like nothing as bad has happened to me, and I'm conscious enough to not associate with the feelings. So why am I observing these feelings of anxiety? Why am I observing these feelings of anger? Why am I, what is this? Like that's a good way to look at, am I an empath? Another good indication that you might be an empath is that when you're around people that are in a low emotional vibration, you feel almost sick around them. Like it might start small at first. It might even just be like an intuitive ick feeling, but the more you're around them, the more you just feel icky. And you might actually, even as an empath, you might attract a lot of people that are of low vibration, and dramatic, and hurtful, hurt people, basically, because like empaths, especially before you've really had any sort of training, we're like a beacon of light, and people come to us for healing. Unfortunately, until we're aware that we can be very codependent as empaths, we tend to attract anybody and everybody that is in need of healing. And a lot of the people that come to us first they kind of teach us about our own empathic abilities are not yet ready for healing, and we cannot force them. We cannot hold them up. We cannot shine bright enough to get them to a point of healing. And it's like then you start to discern, and you have empathy for them. So people, you have to allow yourself to be open to the people who are ready for the healing, because if your time is so consumed with the people that are not ready for healing, you can't help anybody. Like you're kind of a muted empath. You're so busy wrapped up trying to help people that aren't ready to be helped. Like their spirits, their inner guides know that they need your help, or they need someone like you to help them. But if they're still stuck in too much ego, they're not there yet. Um, and another good indication is you might often almost feel like you can read minds, but you're not quite there. You know what I mean? Like some people do have telepathy on top of empathy, or on top of empathic skills, or you might develop them over time, but it's more of a feeling of like you can tell when somebody is feeling guilty, and if you know them well enough, you might have more of a connection with them, and even have a connection with their thoughts. Or you might be able to tell when somebody is acting out of character, and you can feel that, like they feel that way too. And it almost feels like ability to read minds. It's not quite there though. Like you might take a stab at what they're thinking, if you're once you're really trained in your empathic abilities, because you have a clear sense of their feelings, and you can discern the difference between your feelings and their feelings. Like you might guess that somebody is pregnant, or you might guess that somebody is thinking about leaving somebody, or you might guess that somebody's gotten a promotion, and it's an educated guess, because as an empath you can sense the confusion, the excitement, the feelings of disloyalty, the remorse, regret, things like that. You can sense that, and especially if you take some time to study human nature, it's not that hard to make an educated guess. But there's definitely a difference between like telepathy, like reading minds, and clairsentience, being an empath. I suppose to end this one too, and now an empath, my experience, my opinion, we are healers. That's what that's now everybody has the empathic seed. The empathy is human, right? I don't think there's any like particular people who were like supposed to be like, ooh, like there's like empaths that are stronger or better or something than anybody else. I think it's just a matter of, did we come into this lifetime to be conscious enough to use it? Like everybody has certain abilities, but and the seeds are there of being an empath, but whether or not they actually get triggered, depending on what we go through in lives, like that. My opinion of it is, it's very much like there's a saying from a show called The Magicians, that magic comes from pain. And most of the people that I've met that are strong empaths, especially those that have learned to hone and work on their abilities, usually went through something painful between the ages of like 13 and 16, usually to do with love, because empathy is in there, and it triggered these abilities. And those that worked on healing, or those that also became conscious of certain things, they started working on it. They sought help. They looked things up, and learned something, and learned to hone their abilities, and learned to separate like their ego need to, I have to heal people, and being codependent, and like being of service to spirit as an empath. And those that did not learn that usually become either energy vampires or victim zombies, which are not entirely different from each other, but there are some differences, which I'll explain in my next video. In any case, this was just a short vid. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I'm still getting used to being more pithy in my videos, so I'll see you in the next one.